Let's see.
Ah, mine turned green.
What?
I pressed the power button, and now yours turned.
Oh shit, the dots are out.
The dots are out, dude. And I think maybe that could have been the issue from last time.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, we're good now.
All right.
Wow, I'm an engineer.
You are. You're
Yes.
a sound engineer. We
I
need
did
you.
it. Max, there's a lot that happened over the last so often since last week.
Yeah.
I had a major realization,
Okay.
and it happened with Coach the other day. We were sitting around the mats at open mat, and we started talking.
Okay.
And he said something to me that I've been wanting to say to you for a week, well, for the last couple of
Okay.
days since we're Sunday. He told me, we were talking about training schedule, and he was like, look, he said something honestly that I've heard many times, but finally it truly hit home. And I think you're gonna really be able to build off of this. He was like, some guys, they want the result. He says it in his own way. You know how he says it in with like the Brazilian accent and the missing of the words. You know, he's like, some guys, they want the result, and then he goes into French and he says, mais ils sont pas prêts à payer le prix. But they're not ready to pay the price. It's like, if you're willing to pay the price, then you can have the thing. And I was sitting there and I was like, yeah, he's so right that it's almost shocking how right that statement is. There's a price and a cost to everything in life.
Yep.
I mean, literally everything. You want like this beautiful bodybuilder body, but you're not willing to pay the price?
But how does that work? How does that work into your life? Why why did that hit you hard?
Oh, yes, great question. I think, I want to be able to compete for Worlds at the end of August.
Yeah.
I know what the price is that I have to pay.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're not paying it?
And I feel like I'm paying 80 cents on the dollar right now.
Okay. What's
Like
the other 20?
The other 20 is my conditioning,
The cardio?
the cardio. That's the price. The price is you want to be able to have the result that you're looking for, or a shot at least at the result that you're looking for. Well, here's the ask of you.
Dude, that's what I've been feeling about our workouts, man. They're too easy.
You think that they're too
We
easy?
don't test ourselves physically. We're having too much fun, bro. We never push ourselves to our limits. Like, maybe it's not the perfect thing to do that with weightlifting, because we don't want to tear up our muscles too much, because we do want to be able to train jiu-jitsu safely. But we should be mentally challenged. I don't mean that like we should be like
dying.
mentally challenged, but I mean like we should.
Oh.
We should be we should be pushing ourselves to the point that we don't want to continue, but then we find a way to continue anyways. That's the mental battle that we need to reach in our training that we never do when we lift weights.
That's true.
And I think we can definitely do that with cardio.
Yes.
Like, running has for me always been the place where I can go there in my mind. Because when you run, it's only you against you. There's nobody else stopping you from running but yourself. And that's super powerful, man. I think it's even super powerful for pre-competition jitters. Because like in your pre-competition jitters, the only thing that's stopping you from getting on that mat could be you, or the only thing that can self-sabotage your mental, whether you're going on the mats feeling positive or feeling like you're already giving up, or is you. It's all in your head. I've never achieved that through, honestly, jiu-jitsu or weightlifting. I've always found that through running.
It makes perfect sense. You found it through conditioning, like
Yes.
a form of, where at one point you're at your limit, quote unquote.
Or the sauna.
Yeah.
Or the sauna. Dude, it's like when you're interacting with someone, whether it's jiu-jitsu, you can always either have them give you an excuse or give them an excuse, because there's that interaction. You're no longer...
Them being what you're interacting with, not really the person. It could be you're just metaphor.
Both. Either.
Hold on. Actually, re-explain that to
Yes.
me.
Okay. So look, because running is a solitary action, okay, you're really left you fighting you. There's
Yes.
nobody else, right? So you can't bullshit yourself. It's either you stop running and you go home, or you find a way to keep running. And when you find a way to keep running, there's no bullshit, you know? Let's say you're rolling with someone and you lose. You can always say, well, it's because they were better than me. You know, it's like it didn't have anything to do with you, you know? Or if you win, then you can say, well, you know, I'm better than them, or they gave me a chance, you know? So there's always a way to balance out why you did good or why you did bad. You know what I mean?
Yes, 100%.
The same thing with like weightlifting. I just found that like weightlifting, it wasn't.
In a weird way,
You can always cheat when you
yes.
weightlift. You know, you can do less sets. Like if you set out to run 12K, you're running. You either are running 12K or you are not running 12K. There's no in between. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. It's as if there's no other exit door that you can possibly utilize.
Yeah.
You can't say it was that person, this factor. It's a black or white. It's clear cut. It's black or white. You can't play with any of the knobs and be like, well, he was taking it easy on me. Well, I was, I don't know. If you give up, you kind of realize that you gave up. Or there's a weird thing where you're only left with the truth. It feels like you're only left with the truth.
Yes.
Like there's
Yeah.
no way
Yeah.
there's a very hard way to manipulate. It's like, dude, you did or you didn't. Period. And yeah, facing those kind of things, I think that's part of the cost that I'm not paying. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that when he mentioned hey, people want what they want, but they're not willing to pay the price for it. I was just like, damn, that's actually so freaking powerful. It's like, if I told you, hey, you want this thing, you want this nice body, well, the cost is, this is what your diet is going to look like, this is what your workout regimen is going to look like, and this is what your sleep schedule is going to look like. That's the cost. Yeah. Are you willing to pay these three things? If you're not, you do not get what you want. And in jiu-jitsu, that has become a very obvious statement. It's like, even when it comes to some people with their belts, you know, a lot of people have been mentioning, oh, I've been training for this long, you know, like kind of like insinuating, like, should I get to the next level? Mm-hmm. And part of my answer is going to be, well, okay, well, let's look at it. Like, the cost to get to the next level is XYZ. This is kind of what you have to deliver. Now, you can tell me you work too much. You can tell me you, awesome. And I'm not judging you. But don't ask for something if you're not willing to pay the price for it. You have to have done your part. Like, I wish people can see, for those who have gotten their blue belt in like a year or a year and a half, I wish they would be able to see the cost that those people who got their blue belt...
No, hold on. It has nothing to do with those other people.
What do you mean?
Because that's not a level playing field. Like... That's the whole thing about running, dude. When you run, you're alone. You can't compare yourself to anybody else. Like, someone who got their blue belt within 1 year or like less than 1 year.
Right, I see it. It could be athleticism.
They could be naturally talented.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with anybody else. You know, they could be naturally talented. They could have an athletic background. They could have all the time in the world to train. You know, it can't be about, dude, you can't compare anyone to anybody else.
No, man. You can't compare. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to compare. I'm just trying to say, all things equal, maybe with your athletic body, sorry. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you want what you want, based on whoever you are, for your context, there's a price to be paid. That means training a certain amount of times a week, could be self-study at home, could be you actually being in the gym, working on like your physique, your like everybody there isn't a cookie cutter like this is what the person has done, but I think some people would be shocked to realize what some have paid in order to get their blue belt. And yes, there are going to be some people where that's going to be much less, but there are some people who do so much self-study, who take this so seriously, who train so much. Like, I wish that sometimes you can get a peek into, like, yo, do you realize how much this person has been paying to be able to get to this point?
That's
like,
fine. But look, at the same time, a blue belt means nothing. Stick around for 2 years. I mean, again, the thing that we said in the last podcast, you should know a armbar from close guard. You should know a triangle from close guard. You should know the basic jiu-jitsu moves to get your blue belt. But that you can be a basic ass fucking blue belt and still get your blue belt. A blue belt doesn't mean anything, It's like the people who are really putting in the work, they're doing more than getting just a blue belt, right? They're like winning at competitions. They're not only a blue belt, they're like they're a top level blue belt. And it's not even, again, it's not even about like the accolades. The accolades are a symptom of that person's work that they're putting in, but the real victory is
putting in the work.
Yes, and it's their self-confidence. They know who they are. They know what they put in, and they know what they get back. They have no doubt whatsoever. I did this. I got this. Right? It's clear, right? It's not like a blue belt who got a attendance belt, attendance based blue belt, who now has to like have a bit of that like doubt that like I don't know, like these guys are better than me and all that. You know what I mean?
I totally do, and it makes perfect sense. And I'll just add to that. Okay, maybe in the hobbyist world, it's very subjective, and it is very subjective based on different people.
Can I just add?
Yes.
Okay. It's getting the best out of yourself. That is the big accolade that these people end up having. They're working with themselves to get the best out of their selves. It doesn't mean that you're going to be a world champion, because some people just. I'm never going to be Michael Jordan, but if I want to put in the work to be the best version of a basketball player that I can do that, So yeah, that's it. I think that's what you get from that kind of if you keep on pushing yourself to be the best that you can, that really is the best price. You discover what it means for you to be the best version of you.
Yes.
And then I think fucking doors open up, man.
Yeah, dude.
100%.
If you're living with that standard for yourself, doors open up. The best version of you. But there's and I just adding to that, there's this other situation as well where, let's say you want to be competitive, and you want to be like on the competition scene, and you want to be able to hang with those guys. Well, now the price is going to become much more clear.
Yes.
The price is going to become much more clear when you start getting into that world. Now, if it's like, hey, what's the best version of me? Like, awesome. Like, yeah, what is the best version of you? But if you want to get into that pool where you want to compete with the best of the best, potentially, there's a standard there, and there's definitely a price that is very clear in terms of your training. Don't be training twice a week and even talking about comparing yourself to that pool. You're not paying the price to be in that pool, dude.
That's right, yeah.
The price of entry to be in that conversation is not training 2 times a week. It's just not.
True, yeah.
And it's also not just training 2 times a week. Like, your life is built around this.
If that's what you want.
If that's what
yes.
you want.
Yes.
And in an extreme case, to drill the point home, that is a very clear price.
Yes.
If you want to be in the NBA or in the NHL, all right, Awesome. Well, here's what your life looks like. So here's the bill. Come back to me with payment. If you don't, just don't even think of these things. Like, we need to readjust here.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, like, a lot of this conversation is coming from my part, where it's like, if you want what others have in a certain aspect, you have to be willing to pay the price that those people are paying to be able to get into that mix.
Okay.
Now, if you want something that's, if we're changing the goal here, and the goal is like just you being the best version of yourself and like showing up for you and overcoming your own adversities, well, I mean, the price for that is a little bit different than the price to be competitive amongst others in a larger cohort of people.
I mean, it could not, if your goal is to be competitive and compete with those people. I think you still have to focus on yourself.
Yes, that's probably the starting point, right?
That is, yes, that is the starting point.
Yes.
It's always like, if you want to compete on a world stage, then yes, you have to give a lot of attention to your jiu-jitsu, and you're probably going to be doing something for your goal every single day. And every single time you do something for your goal, you need to, be dialed in. You got to be dialed in. Is this a day where I'm bringing myself to the edge of what I can do, or is this a day where I need a recovery? Even if you're having a recovery day, you can be really dialed in and like let's say it's like stretching or something. Like, are you really concentrating when you're stretching? Anyways, all that
has to be dialed in.
Yes.
Yes.
All that, yes, but I think you're still comparing yourself to yourself in those times. But dude, let me ask you this.
It's a weird dichotomy where it's like, yes, there's the inner battle, but then there's also, and those inner battles, if you keep winning them, they lead towards that bigger goal.
Yes.
But at the same time that you have like those winning those inner battles and like making sure that you're doing what's asked of you.
Yes.
You also need to remember,
yes,
hey, these are the standards of the other guys. And I get it, but
yes,
like,
but wait, look,
you need to be able to match up there. It's like the Kobe
yes,
thing.
yeah, okay, but hold on. You start somewhere. You start where you are, okay? And then you bring yourself to the edge of that. Now you're at a new edge, right? So now you're starting at a different place, right? It's one step at a time, and then you're gonna push yourself to the next step, right?
Yes.
So meaning that, like, no, dude, if you're not on the world stage, don't compare yourself to the world stage. Compare yourself to your stage.
Absolutely. That'll
and then
cripple you.
and then let's say, just win your local competition, and then maybe try to go to a provincial.
Yes.
Because when you're keeping up with yourself and you're pushing yourself, you are getting better. You are climbing up. So you're going to leave whatever stage you're at just by being focused on what's the best that you can do. It's always going to be a little bit better. It's like, man, the more starting a healthy routine is tough. But then when you get that routine down, you can add a little bit more, and a little bit more. The things that were tough when you started that routine a year ago are just a matter of fact a year later. And now you've added all this stuff, You're not the same person anymore. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Dude, 100%.
But at the beginning, if you're having a hard time waking up in the morning and making your bed, for you to compare yourself to Michael Jordan, it's going to be so demoralizing. You're going to get crushed. You're not doing that.
Yeah, you're not in that stratosphere.
I think so.
You're 100% right. I think when I say the comparing yourself to Michael Jordan and the standards of the competitive people, it's not in a very day-to-day sense. It's to say that process that you just outlined about getting like a little bit better every day, like let's start with the things that are, waking up early, and then in a year that'll be like just matter of fact part of your day. Like that is the standard of a Michael Jordan. Now, it's not going to be like, yo, let's get you in the gym doing everything that Michael Jordan does on day one. Like you are going to die, and two, like you're going to realize it's just unattainable. It's just the process is as you described it, and it's knowing that that process is what we want, what the standard that you should be living by if you want to become that person.
Yes.
So it is exactly as you described it. It starts with baby steps, and then it starts getting a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. That process is that standard. That is the competitive person's standard. You don't just skip that and get that and then compare yourself to the final result. Be like, all right, I got to bench press all of this weight, and I got to do this 6 times a day now. No.
Yeah.
It's everything that person did to get there.
Yes.
That's your thing, and that's what you need to be able to kind of
but
lock in on.
But there's no way for you to look at them
that
and
is
understand
yes.
that they started by
yes.
making their bed
Yes.
10 years ago.
Yes.
Because the person who made the decision, okay, I'm going to wake up in the morning, make my bed, brush my teeth, clean my apartment, leave for work every single day, a half hour earlier, no. The person who made that decision and then worked on those simple things was doing that 10 years ago. He's not the same person 10 years later. You wouldn't even recognize that person, dude.
Yes.
That's why I tell guys like you, like, dude, I'm 8 years clean. You don't know what addict max is. I'm not that guy. I'm so far removed from that guy.
Yes.
I know what that is. I can't forget what that is.
Understood.
But I'm so far removed from that you couldn't even
fathom,
imagine the dysfunction. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's the same thing there. You got to start from where you are.
Yes.
Wherever you are.
Yes.
But okay.
I think that just to say the one thing that threads there is maybe not in terms of output, but it's in terms of that actionable kind of like, let's start working.
That actionable step.
Yeah.
What's
your first
now?
step?
Yes.
It's like, we're not taking an elevator. You have to do one step at a time.
Yes.
And don't try to do the
What is it
elevator
for you?
thing.
Yeah.
What is it for you? And like, if you can be that person that is willing to take your next step.
And by the way, the amount of courage for the person taking that step at that point is the same or more amount of courage than the person that's 10 years later now gearing up for that NBA
it's the
final.
Same.
Even more. You know, in NA we say you have to be the strongest version of yourself at your weakest time in your life.
Amazing.
Because when you got nothing and you got to build something, like you're weak and you have to take the strongest action you've ever taken in your life, you know, which is like whatever the fuck it is, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So
that is a very, 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 very powerful thing.
Yeah.
And that's the price. That's the price. Another ish analogy was like some people from the gym were being like, hey, we need a competition class. And this is like a metaphor for what we were just saying. I was like, we need a competition class at the gym. They're like, yeah, it would be nice, blah, blah, blah. And I was saying, well, we have all these classes. And at the end of class, I never see any of you drilling on your own. Like, I know that I'm literally there 2 hours past the end of class. And it's mostly just a lot of social that's happening in the gym. Like, why aren't you drilling? Like, why aren't you doing something that can, you know, further along this argument for me? When you tell me after I want a competition class, I'd be like, yeah, but you're not maximizing the things that you have access to, and you're not showing any direction or any intention in that world, and now you want a competition class. It's like, no, you need to take some steps.
Who's asking for that?
Well, I don't want to out them. I don't want to feel like. But
Because
you need to take some steps.
Yes.
You need to take your next step up the ladder, which is like, you have all this time in the world. I'm sitting here.
Yes.
Higher belts are sitting here. You're not asking any of the right questions.
Because there's two guys that could be asking that, right? The guy who's not putting in the work and competes and doesn't get the result that he wants. Now he's asking you to throw him a buoy, right? or the guy who actually is a good competitor, does care about his jiu-jitsu, and now is thinking, I think I want to be in an environment where everybody in the class knows that they're there because they want to compete. I think that would, that class could be, you know what I mean?
I do.
It's like we have to have fun, but it would be a class where like everyone is trying to push themselves. You know what I mean? There wouldn't be no chill roles in that class, I don't think, right? If it's a competition class, you're trying to win, are you?
I think it's a lot more intentions.
What is a competition class?
I mean, depends on the person and on the school, but at the end of the day, it is a big part of the competition class is the mindset that you walk into that class with.
Yes.
So
yes, bro.
it is. There's a huge part of it. Now we can structure it in many different ways around what it takes to be able to compete. Like we mentioned a few things. It's like, are you at the end of your gas tank? Okay,
yes.
Well, now let's see what you're capable of doing.
I think
here are some scenarios. Here are some. We can make it so that all the things that are that are going to happen to you in a competition, we need to prepare you.
I think a competition class should be everyone is rolling tired.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So you can get them to that stage so that then you can see, okay, yeah, you're busted. Okay, well, now the real training begins.
Yeah.
That's a version of it, right?
Yeah.
And it could also be making sure that your game plan is just straight line, like, okay, this is your pathway. It could be for everybody. All right, next 5 minutes, like, I want you to start from this position and I want you to end in your best submission and I want to see that. Keep going, keep drilling that. It could be different for everybody. It's not everybody that's going to do guard pull to whatever.
Exactly.
Arm bar. Yeah. Like it could be for you, whatever it is for you.
Yeah.
Now let's drill that and let me see it. Let me see it. Let me see it until it's second nature. Okay, when you're in this position, let me see you. It's working those kind of reps, and now there's many games and many situationals that
ecological training in a competition class than actually drilling. Like step-by-step drilling?
I'm not sure 100%. I'm sure there's a place for the ecological training model, but in that case, but I feel like the ecological training model is a model that helps you discover jiu-jitsu and discover how to act in certain positions based on restrictions and on kind of gameplay. I think in a competition class, we're more sharpening the knife than we are learning. I think you're more learning in a normal class where it's like, okay, like, let's put you in this position that you've never seen before. Let me place some restrictions on you and let's see, what do you think you should be doing? And then you kind of start figuring it out for yourself. I'm not sure, without knowing, like, I'm not sure if that's the mindset in a competition class, where in a competition class, we're not going to go 20% so that you can be like, oh, I wonder where I would put my hand. Oh, okay, this is interesting. And you sort it out on your own.
Yeah.
I think it would be more like, hey, let's sharpen the knife here. Okay, what are you good at? What are you missing? What are you lacking? Okay, start in this position. You have everything for the armbar. You escape. That's another example. Like, let's work on our escapes in the worst case scenario. Again, battling adversity could be the context of a whole competition class, or working on what you're best at could be the whole. So many things, and it's reps and reps and reps. And yes, mental hurdles, getting tired, putting people in that kind of mindset and seeing what they're capable of. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that goes into a competition class, but I just feel that I bring this up because that is a bit of an elevator, to some extent, like an elevator move, where it's like, yo, there are some steps that you could be taking before wanting a competition class that you need to prove that you would attend the competition class. And the way that you can prove that is by maximizing your training.
Yeah.
But you're right, maybe some people...
I mean, yeah, like it depends for who, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's some guys that deserve one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you know what? There's some food for thought there that you just made me consider, that some people need a certain environment in order to...
Yeah. They need to be given the permission. Like, imagine like everyone is chill except for like one guy who's like competing like training like a fucking psycho.
Yes.
It's like, environment is a big deal. You know, if you give guys permission to like not hurt your partner, but like fucking try to escape the armbar, like like your life depended on it, then they're gonna be less shy to fucking hold on to dear life. You know, like do you ever roll with a guy and you have his arm and he's fucking fighting forever and you're like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like clearly, like this is done. Like
I know.
let's move. Like dude, like you're not. I almost don't want to roll with that guy. I'm like, man, you're not chill. Like
Yes.
because
There's something wrong.
I'm not training for competition. I haven't been thinking about training for competition for a long time. When I go to train now, I actually want to have a nice, chill, fun time, bro, where I get to be an old man and just roll and have fun, you know?
Yes.
If I land on one of those guys, I'm going to avoid them, bro.
I understand.
That's not why I'm there. Those
Yes.
guys probably need a competition class, bro.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Well, we have a lot of food for thought here, Max, but since we do want to train today,
Yes.
all right. All right, let's go. We got a bunch of questions here. One is a pretty big one. Shall I read it or shall you?
Yeah, you can read it.
I got this one.
Guys, check your goddamn grammar.
There's this. Look at this. There's no commas here. There's a scribbly line. You really have to work on your grammar, guys. All right, question one. Oh, a double question,
Oh.
Max.
Interesting.
Oh my God, the grammar on this. When you start to try to compete. Actually, I don't know if that's syntax and but I'm just gonna say it as it is. When you start to try to compete.
Okay.
Question mark.
You're starting to try. That's
I don't know. I
interesting.
don't even need. No, I read it a different way. He's asking when you start to try to compete.
Okay,
So,
when
like-
you start to try, you are starting to try.
When I guess he's trying to ask like when should you think about competing?
Oh,
I think,
shit,
Do you
my
think that's
God.
what he's saying? Take your time with this. Maybe if we add some words, when should you start to try to compete? Could it be should? That's
Yeah.
the missing
When
word.
should you?
Because he just wrote when you start to try to compete.
It's so fucked up that now I don't even know how to say it.
So you see, guys, when I say we need to read more books in this gym, maybe we need like a little mini library.
Yeah.
What do you think? Okay, so let's go with that. Like, hey, when should you try to start to compete? I think this is a crazy question that we get often.
Yeah,
dude.
we get a
like
lot.
it's kind of shocking almost to what extent we keep getting the same question.
People want to compete. It's a good. It's a
It's a
thing
great
that we
thing,
get
I guess,
these
but
questions.
it's their. They need to understand like, hey, when is that? Because they don't
Yeah.
know. Like, when am I kind of? This is a very common question.
Yeah.
Funny enough. And it's like we kind of repeat ourselves when we answer. It's like one, it's very subjective. It's like how many times a week do you train? Like if you trained 2 extra classes, which is very likely in our gym. Some people honestly train 5 times a week and some people train 2.
Yeah.
That is a very real thing.
Yeah.
Dude, 6 months for both those people is different.
Yeah.
Like we're talking very different because there's compounding gains. It's not even like, oh, one guy is truly at the 6 month mark and then the other guy doubled him and is kind of at the 1 year mark. No, the compound gains of being in the room every day, it's even more than double.
Yeah.
Like the other guy is really like at that 1.5 year mark and one person is at 6 months, if you guys follow my logic. Like,
Yeah.
it's not only double, it's way more. Because when you do something and you're always there and you're immersed in it, man, you start to gain and understand things so much quicker than the other person. So the first thing is like, what's your cadence of training? Are you doing self-study? Like, so this question should be asked, in my opinion, almost to a coach.
Yeah.
Who really knows you and
Yes.
can be like, hey, skip this one. Wait another 3-4 months. You're good for the next one.
Yeah, I think a coach needs to watch you roll maybe 3 rounds in a row for him to understand where you're at with your jiu-jitsu, and if you need to tighten things up. You know, like maybe you have big holes in your game that we can say like tighten these things up and then you'll be ready.
That's great. And that is true. It's, I think, again, we've said this in previous pods, but I'll say it again. If you can actually understand the point system,
Yeah.
that tells me a lot. It's funny to say it that way, but dude, like some people, as silly as it sounds, like for more advanced people, at the 1 month mark, when you say like, do you know what it means to pass a guard?
Yeah.
They kind of don't know, right?
Yeah.
They kind of are like, I don't really get it. And you're like, okay, well, have I passed your guard right now? And they're really thinking. If you don't understand the point system, I can give you a clear, definite no. It is not time for you to compete. But if you understand what a sweep means, and we put you in some context and like, hey, what happened there? And you can actually tell me, oh yeah, you swept me. Like you're on your way. Because at the very least, with just those large guidelines, you know what you're fighting for. It could be a bit of a mess, but you know what you're fighting for. So that's one tell. Another thing would be like definitely to speak to a coach and let's look at you and make sure that you're doing some jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
You know, so that's kind of my answer to that. What do you think, Max?
I think that's good. Yeah. You know, I'm thinking like maybe during the beginner classes we should go over like, like a person is on the ground playing guard and a person is standing, and we could be like, have I passed his guard now?
Yes.
What about now?
Yes.
What about now?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
100%. It's something that I love to do with, back in the day when I would have somebody sit down next to me, I would point to people, has he passed the guard? They'd be like, every brain sounds like, that meme with like the triangles of the man, and they're like, no. I'd be like, it's the best. All right. Second part of this incredible person's question. How do you study jiu-jitsu as a white belt? Perfectly written out to whoever this is. How do you study jiu-jitsu as a white belt?
Yeah, that's a tough one because I remember when I was a white belt and I would go on, I remember Chris and Rohan, that's his name, right?
Yes, yes.
Dude, they would talk about jiu-jitsu all the fucking time. Like, hey, have you seen, they were nerds, right?
Yes.
They followed all the names, the tournaments, IBJJF, whatever.
Yes.
They're like, did you see the match between this guy and that guy? And then they did this and they did that. And I was like, I don't know how to do an armbar from close guard. I don't know who those guys are at all. I don't even know what fucking IBJJF is yet, you know?
Yes.
So, like, as a white belt, I don't think you can be watching. I mean, you can if you want. I'm not saying that you can't, but try to watch instructionals on YouTube that are geared towards the basics of jiu-jitsu. Because if you're learning things that are too transitional or too far from from where you're at, then you might not be able to
assimilate.
To like sponge it up,
Yeah, to assimilate it. There's this. I also remember. I still feel this way. So this doesn't change. When I'm watching some sort of video, and my brain says, "I don't understand," I'm like, instinctively, my brain is like, "Then it's not time for you to learn this." I don't understand what he's saying, so I'm just like, I guess I'm not supposed to understand. I know that sounds silly to say, but I'm just like, this makes no sense to me. And I don't even understand how I could be there. And I'm just like, no. And then I just stop watching it. I've done that to so many things. But when I watch something and I'm like, oh, I think I get it. Like, I understand what he's saying here. I'm like, I'm in this silly position or I'm in this scenario. That's when I'm like, okay, clue in on this. This is your next piece. You need to actually understand this.
Yeah.
But if I feel completely removed from something or it's making me space out, it's probably because it's just too complicated for me to be able to understand. So I would suggest one, realizing if you can just name the positions that you tend to be in, that's also that's a huge step. So just try to realize for yourself in your roles, hey, what is the position that I'm in right now? If it's in close guard, it's like, okay, like that's your first step. Right on YouTube, like close guard attacks.
Yeah.
Close guard, and this is going to sound silly, defense. Like just use that one term of that one position that you tend to be in, and now start watching videos about that position. Some of the videos that you're going to start watching, not going to make any sense to you. Doesn't make any sense to you? Dude, don't feel bad. Chuck it. It's because the guy is talking about complexities.
You're not there yet.
You're not there yet. Murtaza does that with me a lot, where he'll talk to me about a topic, and the way that he's speaking to me, he's speaking to me like we're both black belts, like we're both PhDs. It's not the case.
Yeah.
So like some of the things that he's saying, I'm like, I don't understand it how your brain understands it yet. So I have a choice here. I keep trying to figure this out, and it doesn't really make sense to me. Or in one ear, out the other, back to the simple stuff.
Yeah. You can sometimes hold on to one thing, you know? It's like if I talk to Mort sometimes, he goes off, and then I'm like, okay, so I put my elbow down. That's all I gotta know.
Right,
I'm out of here,
enough.
bro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, but think about it. Elbow down. Got it.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. Like, that's literally what it is, and you shouldn't feel bad. It is what it is, and some people's responses are a white belt response, a blue belt response, a black belt response. Like, you need to find somebody online. Just again, start off with the position that you end up in.
Yes.
Right attack, right defense. Start listening to videos. Eventually, I promise you're going to find some sort of persona online that speaks to you, because guess what? He knows he's speaking to beginners.
Or, man, you want to know a fucking cheat code for this? Check out Roger Gracie.
Roger Gracie. You know, dude, I got to tell you.
Complex?
I found him to be blue belt, a blue belt
Okay.
type instruction.
Okay.
Because he assumes, that's for me.
Right.
He assumes things that you know.
Right.
There's some people who dumb it down so perfectly for white belts, like Jiu-Jitsu, like Keenan, actually, funny enough.
Really?
Yeah, Keenan Cornelius tends to like really break things down and explain things like and many others, but you're gonna know right away when a video really is like, wow, that was super clear cut, short, and then you see like an 18-minute video from somebody else, and you're like, holy moly, this guy's really getting into the weeds here and explaining all the complexities of, well, the guy can do this and the guy can do that, and you're never gonna be able to keep up with that.
Yeah.
Like Galvao from Atos, his videos are all like 12 to 20, 28 minutes, because he gives you, dude, all different angles of this storyline, and like you're susceptible to this, and you have this option, and you have that. For a white belt, it's like my head's gonna. It's too much.
Yeah.
The other videos, 3 minutes. Here's how you do an armbar from guard. Get the
Yeah.
elbow across. You know, Jiu-Jitsu honestly is really great for that stuff. Like Chewy, he's good for that. Anyways, that's a silliness to my answer.
One more?
One more. Oh, sir, it's your turn. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Sorry.
All right, these are good questions.
One last.
Wow, this is a full sheet of paper.
Oh my God, I know exactly who posted this, and they asked us to do this. I can't believe we skipped it.
Wow,
All
there's
right.
arrows.
I love arrows, dude. Oh my God, there's some text that got scratched out there. I do love a good arrow.
This is nuts.
This is like a map to a treasure hunt.
This is supposed to be in here, you think?
Yes, it is. The person who wrote it even mentioned it to me, being like.
Okay, so on the top, it says BJJ learning plan. So I think this person is sharing their BJJ
Max,
plan with us.
I would love to know if you can guess who this person is.
Okay.
At one point, you'll be allotted a guess.
This is why. All right. It says BJJ learning plan. Then it says there's points here. Okay. It says learning moves. Learning what move the move connects to.
God. Guys, the grammar.
Learning how to maintain a move. Learning how to connect moves. Learning when to switch contact / aboard. Okay?
Okay. I mean, I guess
What do y'all... Okay, I see. This guy made like a learning hierarchy.
Yes, and
or like a step-by-step to
framework.
learning, and then he's saying, what do y'all think?
What do we think about his framework?
Made quick notes before open mat. Do... What is this word? Do thing? Do to your...
Donating.
Oh,
Donating to your cause.
Cause, because why not? Okay.
Donating.
And then someone wrote correct.
Context.
Con...
I think that's context,
Okay.
guys. This handwriting. But so first of all, so he's showing us a framework, and then he's asking us, what do we think about this framework? I mean, in a nutshell, this is his framework, and then he's saying like, hey, what do you think? Make quick notes before open mats.
Yes, it's good.
That his framework. But who do you think wrote this? Who do you think is this conceptual in the gym?
Chewy?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I love that you got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, Chewy. Chewy, your first framework of your concept, learning what moves connects to which move, learning how to maintain a move, learning how to connect moves. I feel like there's just
There's a switch there.
the switch in the order, right?
Yeah.
So definitely learning how to maintain a move is very important.
Yeah, you should maintain a move before you connect moves together.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a little thing there, and that is a great framework for learning something. Is like, hey, how can I first, positionally speaking, and that's why when we go over things in a beginner class, we kind of say, okay, like let's first work in the position. Let's take it for granted. You're in this position. Like, we got you here. You're in this position. Actually, there is kind of missing a step. So technically, we should first learn how to get into the position, and then once you're in the position, maintaining the position, and then from that position, how can you actually take actionable steps that then branch out into other situations, other moves, as Chewy says. That's a perfect framework. It really is.
Learning moves. Yeah.
And when
moves,
you learn,
I would almost change the word moves for positions.
yeah, it could be. I mean, position, yeah, guards.
Because a move I find is more like in my mind a move is like more a setup for submission.
Yeah, it's something that you do from a position.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's. We could get even more granular and say like guards.
Yeah.
Like guards, and actually it's guards and positions.
But guard passing too. A lot of those connect.
Yeah. There's a lot happening here, but there is definitely something to be said when it comes to, hey, can you first get to the position, guard, move? Can you now, from that position, do you have a good retention? Can you actually keep that position? And do you know what to look for when the person is trying to undo it? And then also having these highways that branch out into the next. And that is like if you look at it kind of like a branch that then branches off to other branches, I think as those branches start to branch off into more branches and give you more and more options and more opportunities, that's you kind of progressing through the belts. Is that you're growing your jiu-jitsu tree. Like if you can keep growing your jiu-jitsu tree of knowledge, like you're becoming more and more efficient. But it all starts with being able to get there, being able to maintain the position, and then after that starting to branch out and going move to move, as you would say.
Shall we do another one?
I don't know, Max. How are we doing for time over here?
It's probably 1:30. 1:28. All right.
I think we're golden for this day. But do you have any closing notes? How do you feel about life?
I'm tired, man. I've been tired lately. I don't know if it's the rain. Dude, as soon as I sit down for like more than 20 minutes, I literally fall asleep, bro. Like my eyes start to close,
Well, I mean, that just means like take a nap, Like what's so
I take
bad
naps,
about
dude.
that?
I took a nap. Dude, Friday, I wanted to come to open mat. I wanted to watch the video with you guys. I was planning to take a nap from like 5 to 6, and my nap was so good and so deep that I didn't have the mental strength to get up.
I think those days are needed.
And I think that day we were talking about poutine,
the seed.
Yes.
Was oh my God, that ticking time bomb. We were talking about fast food.
We watched beer meets food, and I was in my bed contemplating: do I just order junk food or get up and go to jiu-jitsu?
And junk food.
I gotta be honest with you guys. I ordered junk food, bro. I ordered one medium stuffed crust pizza from Pizza.
They have stuffed crust at Pizza?
They do, yeah. They all have them now.
Wow.
And then I ordered
That was like a engineering wonder at the time when that first came out.
It was, yeah.
The stuffed cheese in the
Dude,
crust.
I like-
Whoever came up with that, and
Yeah.
there is a dude at Pizza Hut,
I hope he's a millionaire.
like literally, that guy was like, hey, cheese in the crust.
Yeah.
How do you do that? You just roll the crust over the cheese.
Remember the guy, John Harris, I showed you about like the money thing, you know, like this guy.
Yeah,
makes that
yeah,
much?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he made one about cheese in America and how they had such a big surplus of cheese after war that they were like, pizzerias we need to start marketing cheese.
Oh my God.
So that's where the stuffed crust came from. They were like, we got to put more cheese on this
cheese in the
pizza.
pizza. How can we
What
put
about
it?
the crust?
Ah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I ordered that, and then from La Belle Province, I ordered.
Holy crap! When you're going to 2 different restaurants,
Yes.
that is a world.
Yes, I ordered 2 gyro pitas with fries and a Coke, and you know what?
How big was the pizza?
Medium.
A medium pizza, 2 gyros and a fry and a Coke. There's
Yeah.
no way you went through this, dude.
So they showed up at my door at the same time, bro.
Wow.
When I opened my door, both bags were there, and I was like, the second delivery guy must have thought like, this guy has a fucking problem. You know what I mean?
Dude.
But anyways, so no, of course not. I ate 1 gyro. I ate maybe 3 slices of pizza, but throughout the entire night, bro.
Picking at it. Or you're dying.
Yes.
Oh,
No,
picking.
picking at it.
Yes.
I kept on going back to the fucking pizza.
Yeah, for sure. Slowly but surely.
And I finished it the next morning when I woke up. I ate the 2
Whoa.
last slices.
Dude.
I was sodiumed out
I
for
don't
the
know
entire day, bro.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know what the people are going to think of our addictions. Well, yesterday I was driving back from Ottawa.
It's a real addiction.
It truly is. I was
It's
driving
for
back
real.
from Ottawa and I stopped at the because there was Tree's Invincible event. It
Yeah.
was that MMA event, which was super awesome. And I'm driving back. It's like,
And then I ate the last gyro last night.
wow,
Cold. It was good.
delicious.
Yes. Sorry. Go
I
ahead.
don't know. 10:30 at night. I'm like driving. I was like, okay. I saw KFC. I stopped. I got two sandwiches, a poutine. But already there, dude, the KFC sandwiches are kind of massive.
They're big, bro.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, they're not that. No, they're big.
They're chicken. It's like it's not a flat patty.
No,
It's a breast.
It's thick.
I gotta
and
be honest with you. It seems like it's real chicken.
I have no
You know,
idea.
it's like a McDonald's patty. It's like if it's smushed and then turned into a patty.
Yes.
I feel like
I get what you mean.
I feel like the KFC
yeah.
it comes apart like it's
Yeah.
an actual piece of chicken.
Yeah, could very well be. Anyways, dude, I ordered a bunch of food. And I'm driving back and I'm just picking away at it, and I was like, I got through it all, obviously, but it's just there's not a way to live, Max. We got to
It's
go
not
back
a way
to our
to live,
roots.
bro. It's not a way
Anyways,
to live,
it happens very rarely, but
Yeah.
by rarely I mean once a week or once every couple of weeks. Who knows?
Even once a week is too much, bro.
Yeah.
The thing is that I can't do it once a week.
Yes.
If I do it once a week,
Yeah,
it means that I'm doing it 3 times a week.
Yes, absolutely.
I need to, dude. The only time that I can do that, my problem is if I do it by myself.
Uh-huh.
I can do it with you at Aldo's.
Yes,
And
yes.
go home.
Yes.
And it's out of mind.
Yes, we've lived it. We've done it. We're
Yeah.
good.
The social aspect, for some reason, keeps the shame away.
Yes.
It's when you're doing it alone,
In your bed with
and
your
then the shame.
watching YouTube or watching Instagram.
Watching Beard Meets
Yeah.
Food, bro,
Oh,
for fucking
terrible.
inspiration.
Yeah.
The shame builds on the shame,
I hear you,
and then
dude.
the shame gets you to do more shameful actions, bro.
Absolutely.
It's a
Anything
fucking,
in hiding is no good.
Yeah.
And that's our lesson to the world.
Yes.
Anything in hiding, no bueno.
Yeah.
So let's go train now.
Let's go, bro. Are you training? Are you?
I mean, I wanna
are you gonna
roll.
roll? Fuck
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
bro. Let's go.